Hey guys, cheers for tuning into this video. So I've always wanted to do a proper unboxing experience. Some people don't like them, some people think they're a bit pointless, but I think they're nice to see what you get in the box. So we have an unboxing of a kit. I bought this with my own money, and this is a Yamaha AG03 Mark II live streaming pack kit. From my understanding, it comes with 3 or 4 items. We'll go through with them. I'll discuss later regards to the rabbit hole with this. So let's get to it. So we've got the box here. I've taken out of its delivery package. So this is how this box comes inside of it. Let you take a look. So this is presumed the way you're seeing it around, I hope. There we go. So you can buy the interface and the microphone separately, but I wanted a whole kit because I wanted to replace certain items of my interface and microphone kit with something. You also get some headphones here, and I'll talk about why I've been looking into that in possibly another video. So let's get in with the unboxing. So it is a sizable box. They haven't skimmed down what you're getting. And apologies for any background noise, it is a busy area. So we've got a cardboard piece that covers the top. So make sure that you guys can still see what's inside. So we have, let's just get some of the documents out of the way. So a big document pack, looks like it comes in multiple languages, and comes with Yamaha, despite making motorbikes, actually makes professional audio equipment. So they will provide basic detail or high detail of what you're getting, including a frequency response graph. I think of the microphone. Yes, this is what this lists here. Now, I will try link this pack below so you can look at the details yourself in your own time. So we get a carry case. I don't really intend to lug this around much of anywhere, but it's nice to have because you can use it for everyday things in general, just to put stuff away. You get yourself a USB cable. This is A to C. Still common, most computers have A to C. If you've got a MacBook, you're going to need a C to C cable, or if you're using a hub, it should have an A USB-A port. They actually give you an XLR cable. That's a nice addition. I probably don't need it. Now this is quite hefty. I thought this would be plastic looking at the pictures. This is a stand mount for the microphone. This looks standard. I'm going to be curious to see if this actually is compatible with other microphones, actually, just to be on there. But this thing's metal, this bit's plastic, the locking knob, but the rest of it's metal, so that's nice. Comes with the adapter, so that's good to see. I'll probably be using this anyway, and I'll go over the reason why. So let's continue. Now we get to the heart of it. Hopefully you can see it. It's a bit bright because I am using a window. So let's start with the headphones. Yeah, so we have what looks to be a nice set of headphones. Now I've gone for the white kit. There is a black version of this, but I've chosen the white, simply being nearly everything's black these days, but I want white accent touches to my setup. So hopefully the autofocus doesn't go crazy on me. So nice bit of padding. It's a fixed cable, but I'm okay with that. Metal band with very smooth, it's still stiff, the adjustment band. There's no ratcheting mechanism. I think this is what some people have said. So we'll see how this actually fits. I don't like exposed cables, and this one feels very fragile, so hopefully nothing happens to this. If you can see that cable there, I don't know. But yeah. Oval designs over ears. This looks a bit small. Let's just give it a quick test on the ears to see how it feels like. There's no swivel to this, very minor swivel I should say, but it can move up and down. It's made entirely of plastic. Let's put it on my ears. It is quite small because the inner part of the cups actually makes contact with my ear, unfortunately. We'll see how these act in the long term. Maybe these are replaceable, I don't know. But again, Yamaha makes audio products, including headphones, surprisingly. Well, not surprisingly. White cable as well, and with another adapter, that's great. These might be generic headphones from maybe another brand, maybe another OEM actually makes these and Yamaha just brands them. I don't know. We'll see how they sound like later on. The cable is malleable. That sounds like a weird thing to say, but I have a pair of Shure headphones with the most annoying cable ever given. It is so stiff, it just, yeah, that's a topic for another day. Let's get to the microphone, because this piece of microphone isn't discussed or reviewed much. Now, I should also say that this kit, this pack has very few, almost non-existent English speaking or Western speaking, however you want to refer it as, going over this particular pack and some of this product, including this microphone and the interface in general, despite being sold in the UK quite easily. Now, I will do a test to see how some of this sounds like. This video will be mostly the unboxing. I'll make another video discussing how these actually operate. And I'll try to see what I can do, but this microphone is hefty, made it completely out of metal. I would have liked if this was customizable, this particular accent ring here with the branding that faces both directions. Because I would have liked to have an option to take this off and put an accent I would prefer myself. It's a cardio pattern with this, so it's front speaking only, nothing at the rear. It looks nice, the finish is great, and the white really stands out more than the pictures will ever say. Apparently this has an LED in front of it when you apply 48 volts of phantom power. Looking at this pattern here feels like, looking at this indentation here, looks like there's almost like a shock mount was meant to go there. Looking at that side pattern there, like an actual shock mount, not the hard mount they've given. Just looking at that, I don't know what the plosive rejection of this will be like, because it could be a place where you can get some external foam or a pop filter you can like hook onto it. This threads in here, and that's the XLR port, so hopefully you guys are seeing this very, very well. But that's hefty. This might go on my boom arm, and it should have enough weight to actually keep it down. Now it sounds a bit weird, but my Rode PSA boom arm doesn't like light microphones at all. It just doesn't work with them. It just, you need to add additional weights to light microphones for it to work. So yeah. Then we get into the interface itself. Now there is other versions to this. This is the version 3. There's also a version 6 and an 8. The 8 kind of is a very different category. The version 8, looking at the pictures, and I'll try show that somewhere here, is more like the Rode Procaster, if you're more familiar with that. So it's more of a podcasting like station, but the 3 and 6 are more mixes and interfaces in a more traditional sense. So this is what we have. That's what we've got. Lots of I/O, lots of inputs, lots of dials, I should say. I really don't like that dial. I've seen a review of an older version to this with a Mark 1, and I think everyone has said this dial's a bit useless because it's not reprogrammable, but it's also very easy to move. I don't really care about the wobbliness to this. I mean, to be fair, with how much this costs by itself, this should be a bit nicer. It's very loose, but it'd be nice if you had an option just to lock it into place. So this has a lot of ports that is quite useful to me. Now, just to go over quickly when it comes to my choice of interface, and hopefully this is something I stick with for a long while, is the I/O and the features it's give. Now, I did get just a generic interface. By generic, I mean XLR microphone in, audio out, that's it. I wanted something, as I was using it, I realized that wasn't enough for my particular needs. So I should have got maybe a Go XLR back then, actually. This is before the current wave of gaming interfaces with the audio routing. Now, I don't really play with much of other people, because with audio routing, you can actually separate your game, music, and chat, like Discord. However, if I'm playing with other people now, like via Discord or anything like that, I actually have a pair of Sony H7 headphones, which has a feature called Chat Mix, which allows you to separate game audio and Discord, and you can record both simultaneously and edit them as you need to, and you can vary the levels post-production, and importantly, I can adjust the volume on the fly for me. Now, that headset doesn't do it on the fly for you, the listeners, if you're streaming live, but I normally just like to set it at a given level and just go from there. But as I moved away of playing more multiplayer games and actively with other people on Discord, the value of that has decreased. So though I address my requirements for if I'm playing with other people and having Discord and recording or streaming that, I have my other means to do it, and if I'm playing like that, I'd rather use my wireless headset in order to accomplish that. Because when I'm doing my own content creation, I'd rather have something that meets a bit more of my needs, and actually a lot of that feeds with I/O actually, so, and in some aspects control. So this has the traditional interface I/O. You've got your microphone, XLR input, you've got your headphone out, and you've got your monitor outs. This has additional things, as you can see now. Virtually all interfaces, even if it has one XLR interface, will have some sort of instrument in, which you have here. These don't concern me, but one thing I quite like about here is it's kind of like a MIDI in. So these are like line ins. And one thing I like is it seems to be able to detect if you put one plug-in or two in these ports. So here we go. So if you plug something in here, it will say this is mono. That's important. I believe this should be able to be set to mono when you're recording, which is what I want via the device. But this has other options. This has other I/O that you might be able to see. So we have this foot switch here, which is an added accessory. I have no need for that. Then we come to this I/O here, or rather these three here, and this is where it gets a little special. So Depending on the headphone you use, it may come with that 6.3mm jack, the big jack basically, which will go here. But you also have a jack here for your headset for your 3.5mm. But it has a microphone in, which from my understanding, plugging into this disables this. Which is fine because you don't want them running simultaneously. But this is plug-in power microphone. When I'm doing my video when I'm showing this in use, from my understanding, you can plug a lavalier mic into this. So when I'm ever doing like a Zoom call with friends or whatever I'm doing, when I'm chatting to a person that isn't to do with gaming or anything like that, having just whatever headphone or earphone can be plugged into this, a lavalier plugged into this, and I have a very unassuming sort of setup. So basically you don't look like a gamer when you're using this. So that's really nice, and it has an auxiliary in, which is 4-pole. So if you can plug your smartphone into this, or a tablet or something that uses, if you're plugging in a headset into a phone, it will have the microphone in and the headset out. So you'll be able to communicate with someone via this. My phone might be a bit difficult for this because that's a topic for another story. On off button, you've got your separate dials for your monitor outs and your headphone outs. This controls both headphone outs from my understanding. You got your instrument input, you got your gain knob here for the XLR microphone. I presume it's going to also affect the plug-in power. I presume this is the auxiliary dial, but I've not really seen much of anyone actually demonstrate this. So I'm hoping to make a video that will try to cover as much sections as possible. Now this dial is not a gain dial. This is a digital volume, digital volume for your XLR microphone. So you can. Now gain and volume are separate in a technical sense. The gain affects the AC-DC converters and tries to basically pump more voltage into that signal. So yes, it has it makes it louder, but it works on making the signal that comes in stronger by adding more voltages to that signal, which is why you get that hiss and noise out the extreme end, because it's pumping a lot of voltages, and when you pump a lot of electricity into something, it begins to possibly have some distortion, which is why high-end, really expensive electronics are cleaner at the high end, because that's harder to do. But this is more of a digital gain, so this is more when you're just turning your volume up and down. Why this needs to exist very loosely on here, we'll see, because it only goes to plus 6 dB at the top end. So if you need to make yourself quiet, you can do so without affecting this knob, without affecting that. So we'll see how this plays, but I would never normally need to touch this. You've got your buttons, so you've got your 48 volt here, nice and accessible, not at the rear of devices like the Behringer. You've got the microphone in or line in, depending what you're using. These switches affect these ports. These don't matter to me much, but you can have guitar and line in, high or low gain. I don't believe you can actually you have that much control on it. You've got the mix and minus, which I believe is direct monitoring. We'll see how that works. So, oh yeah, you can't see it in this unboxing, but this thing has built-in DSP. So it's software that allows you to add effects and additional control of that nature, all digitally done, but you can actually switch them on via these buttons here, or on or off, and just a mute for the microphone, which if you're using dynamic, this is where it's useful. But yep, one of the things nice about the compressor, and maybe some extent the EQ, not so much a reverb in my situation, I'm understanding this will also send the signal out when it's monitoring to yourself, and whoever's on the listening end will hear this. Which means that if I'm recording into OBS, something where I can add VSTs, this isn't the biggest of deal, because you can add them in post-production or as you're recording in software that allows you to do so. But when you're using software like Discord, Zoom, Teams, whatever it is, they don't really give you this kind of feature. So when you're doing more into the aspect of content creation or just listening in general, at least you can have some control of how you're going to sound like when it reaches their listener's end. And if you're doing some sort of podcasting digitally with someone on the other end, at the very least you're going to sound, somewhat nicer, or rather you can tune your voice a little bit to more what you want. Now there is a variant to this device, which if you do a lot of Discord calls, if you're playing with other people, which is like the ZG something, I'll link that somewhere or put a picture on it, that's got a bit more coverage in the West. And that one is probably more useful to people who want an interface but want that additional control, because basically this was some additional onboard controls and audio routing that this does not have, to my knowledge. But I wanted this because it comes in this pack, because the price I paid to get the interface and the microphone was an astonishingly good deal. The interface can be, I think it's recommended retail prices between 160 to 200 pound. The microphone is about 100 by itself, and also that other interface is only in black. That does have a pack which costs more than this that I paid for, that comes with a gaming headset, which again is very, I would say that's a better package for those kind of people. Now this one has reviewed it, again, that device has more coverage, but this one hasn't. So hopefully I can do a more of a demonstration in another video for this. So that's been my unboxing and a bit of an explanation to why I've gone for this. So cheers for tuning in. See you in the next video while I actually go over this hardware.